Anna had always dreamed of a better life, but in Venezuela, survival was a daily struggle. The economic crisis had left her family barely able to afford food, and jobs were scarce. She had worked long hours at a local market, earning just enough to keep going. But it was never enough. Every night she lay awake, wondering if she would ever escape poverty. Then came the opportunity that seemed like a miracle. A man posing as a recruiter approached her, offering a job in the U.S. "You'll work in a hotel or as a waitress," he had assured her. "Good pay, a place to stay, and a chance to send money home." It was everything she had wished for. Desperate to change her fate, Anna took the risk. Her family scraped together what little they had for her journey. She hugged her mother and younger siblings, promising to send money soon. But the moment she landed in New York, things changed. Her passport was taken under the excuse of processing paperwork. Before she could question it, she was led to a brothel, not a workplace. The reality crushed her. She had walked into a trap, and there was no turning back. The first night of horror. Anna sat in the dimly lit room, her hands trembling as she clutched the edge of a worn-out mattress. The stale air was thick with perfume and cigarette smoke, and the muffled sounds of laughter and footsteps echoed down the narrow hallway. A woman in heavy makeup and a tight dress entered the room, her face devoid of emotion. "You start tonight," she said flatly. Anna's heart pounded. "No, I came here for a real job. I want to go home." The woman sighed, as if tired of hearing the same plea. A tall man stepped inside, his cold eyes scanning Anna. "You're not going anywhere," he said, his voice calm but laced with menace. "You work, or you suffer." When Anna shook her head, refusing, he grabbed her by the hair and slammed her against the wall. Pain shot through her skull as she cried out, but her screams were swallowed by the thick walls. "No one is coming to save you," he sneered. The door opened again, and the first man walked in. Anna sobbed, begging, pleading, but it didn't matter. That night she endured 20 men, each one stealing a piece of her soul. Between encounters, she curled into herself, biting her lips so hard she tasted blood. Her body ached, her spirit shattered. In the next room, other women lay in the same broken silence. One of them whispered, "It gets easier." Anna couldn't believe that. Nothing could make this easier. She closed her swollen eyes, letting silent tears roll down her face. Her dreams were gone, her body no longer hers. All she could do was survive the night. Psychological and physical trauma. Anna's body ached in ways she never imagined possible. Every movement sent sharp pain through her limbs, but it was nothing compared to the hollowness inside her chest. She felt disconnected, as if her mind no longer belonged to her body. It was the only way to survive, to dissociate, to pretend none of it was real. She sat in a corner, knees drawn to her chest, staring blankly at the cracked walls. The other women moved around her, their faces empty, their eyes tired. One of them, a girl no older than 19, sat beside her. "It happened to all of us," she murmured. "You have to stop fighting. The more you resist, the worse they treat you." Anna wanted to scream, to fight, to run, but there was nowhere to go. Another woman, Maria from Honduras, shared her story. "They told me I'd be a nanny," she whispered. "Instead, I ended up here." A girl from Thailand had believed she was coming to work at a massage parlor. The Ukrainian woman had been sold by a boyfriend she trusted. Anna realized with horrifying clarity that this wasn't just her nightmare. It was the reality for thousands of women across the world. A glimmer of hope, the escape plan. Days blurred into nights, and Anna felt herself slipping further into hopelessness. But one evening, as she sat quietly in a corner, an older woman, Rosa, leaned in close and whispered, "There might be a way out." Anna's heart skipped a beat. "How?" she asked, barely able to speak from exhaustion. Rosa hesitated. "Sometimes the police raid places like this. If you can get word to them, maybe they'll help." Anna clung to that tiny spark of hope. That same night, she overheard a drunken client boasting about how he narrowly escaped a police raid in another brothel. Her mind raced. If the police knew about this place, would they come? She waited for the right moment. When a client tossed his jacket carelessly on the chair, she scribbled a desperate note on a torn piece of paper. "Help. I am trapped here. Call the police." Her hands trembled as she slipped it into the jacket pocket. Later, another client, a quiet man with kind eyes, noticed her bruises. He hesitated before whispering, "I can help you." For the first time since arriving in New York, Anna felt something stir in her chest. Hope. The escape and rescue days passed with agonizing slowness. Anna didn't know if her desperate plea had been found or if the kind-eyed client had followed through on his promise. She tried not to hope. It was safer to expect nothing. But then, one night, chaos erupted. Loud bangs shook the building, followed by shouts in English and Spanish. The door burst open, and heavily armed police officers flooded the brothel, their voices cutting through the panic. Traffickers shoved the women aside, trying to escape, but within minutes, they were handcuffed and dragged away. Anna stood frozen, her heart racing. When an officer approached, she flinched, expecting another blow. Instead, he spoke gently, "You're safe now." Tears streamed down her face. It felt surreal. Was this really happening? Along with the other women, Anna was taken to a safe house run by an organization that helped survivors of human trafficking. She was given clean clothes, warm food, and most importantly, compassion. Though she was free, the trauma lingered. Nightmares haunted her sleep, and the memories refused to fade. But for the first time in what felt like an eternity, she had a chance to rebuild her life, on her own terms. Anna knew true freedom wouldn't come until justice was served. She bravely testified in court, recounting the horrors she endured. Her words, though painful, helped bring down the trafficking ring, ensuring that her captors would never harm another woman again. Healing was not easy, but Anna found strength in a support group filled with other survivors. Together, they raised awareness about human trafficking, speaking out to help others avoid the same nightmare. Though the memories of that horrific night never fully faded, Anna refused to let them define her. Instead, she turned her pain into power, dedicating her life to rescuing and supporting other victims. Her story is one of survival, courage, and resilience. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope can prevail. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can spread awareness and fight for justice.